There's an existential immediacy, a reality, a viscerality to warfare, such that I think it can be a cure for brain rot. Am I referring to the film or am I referring to actual warfare? Well, it's up to you to decide. I'm going to focus on the film, of course. I'm going to tell you right now, if you watch this movie, watch this movie. Don't be screwing around on your phone. I think maybe the filmmakers had that problem in mind. This film is such that even if you're distracted by serious things, not trivial things, as I was last night and have been for many days now, when I put this film on, I was there with the film. I was there watching. I was totally bound up and wrapped up in it. I was actually sad when I had to pause and go to the bathroom. And then I saw, oh, there's only 40 minutes left. I wanted this movie to go on, but that's probably a personal thing. I'm sure a lot of people will watch this film and say, okay, that was enough of that. Wow. But wow, it's an experience, okay? Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza have done something really brilliant here. Ray Mendoza is a character in the film, all a very true story, and he's a co-director with Alex Garland. I'm a big fan of Alex Garland going way back to the days of, 28 Days Later. He's worked a lot with one of my favorite, if not my favorite, film director, Danny Boyle. Alex Garland has written stuff that Danny Boyle has directed. Now Alex Garland is more directing, and now he's working with real-life ex-Navy SEAL here. There's a binary skill set here, okay? There's the real-life Navy SEAL Ray Mendoza, who was there, experienced this incident, and Warfare chronicles an incident. And Alex Garland has the visual technique and the filmmaking skills to combine it in such a way that it's so engaging in a new and special kind of way. A24 is really, I don't know, the only true man in the industry, the only true studio making film true in the sense of unique new stories. Some aspects of Warfare reminded me of The Zone of Interest, another A24 film, which is more of a story, not just an incident. Covers, days and weeks and this family that lived right next door to Auschwitz, and that's a whole other thing. More loosely based on a true story, but still there's truth to it. The sound design. That's something, a big similarity between the two films is the sound design. Is that the right word? Or the audio engineering? I've been struggling with that today because of the humidity in my apartment. And we'll talk more about humidity in a moment, actually. But yeah, there were moments in Warfare where, oh my god, the realism of the sound shakes you to the core. And I feel like a bit of a jackass because I watched it listening to the audio through a little Bluetooth. It's a good speaker, but please, if you watch Warfare, use the best audio speakers or even a headset if you can. Don't watch it with the volume down low because you don't want to disturb your significant other or something like that. And if you can, go to the theater for sure. I'm gonna rewatch it next time with a good headset on. It's a movie that's also kind of hard to spoil in a sense, because even if I was to tell you everything that happens in the film, which I won't, and I'm going to be careful to only show screen caps from like the first half. Even if I were to tell you everything that happens in this film, it wouldn't truly spoil it. Because the method of storytelling, the skills of the filmmakers, and the realism and the honesty of the story, of the incidents, draws you in. It is so rewarding. It's more of an experience than anything else. I really love how it opens up with this platoon of Navy SEALs watching a video that was quite notorious for those of us that were big on the internet, online, actually using the internet. Late Gen Xers and early millennials will recognize that call me. There's a whole backstory to that song itself, and I'm not going to play it. I noticed another YouTuber reviewing this film played it and got a big copyright problem. I'm not going to do that, but watching these guys grooving out to this like hypersexual, undeniable beat of this song, it's great. And that's it for music in this film. That's it. That's similar thing with The Zone of Interest. I'm pretty sure there really isn't any, there's very little music in The Zone of Interest, and it's very just atmospheric. This film has no score, no music, except for this one diegetic piece of music at the very start, and a non-diegetic piece of music at the very end where you learn a little bit more about the real life people here, aside from the main character, who is also the director, co-director of the film, played by, and I'm not going to do this gentleman, this actor from Toronto, apparently, I'm not going to do him the disservice of not pronouncing his name or trying to, the Pharaoh Wunatai. The Pharaoh Wunatai. Sometimes when I really enjoy a film, I'll then go on YouTube and watch other reviews to see if other people were as affected as I was, and yes. But I saw one actual veteran YouTuber who didn't even attempt to pronounce the guy's name, and he just called him Wu-Tang. That's pretty insulting. Come on. You love the guy, his exceptional performance in this film, Wunatai, the Pharaoh Wunatai, and he's great. He's great. Something in this film that is very realistic again and stands out is the radio comms, the radio communications. You just don't understand military radio jargon. Some of us might understand like half, 40%. I think that's where I am. A lot of casual viewers, you'll understand maybe 10 or 20% of the radio comms, and that's a good thing. It's one of these things about this film where it doesn't pull any punches, and it's just like you're there with them as a witness. If you get it or don't get it, whatever, you're experiencing it. Confusing philosophical analogy I'm about to make. The storytellers, the filmmakers, they do things in a certain way to deliver a message, to deliver the story to us, the film, the music video, the YouTube content, whatever it is. I'm doing it right now for you. But you're bringing something to the table too. It is not solely me being active or Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza being active and you as the audience being passive. You've made some choices. How are you listening? Are you going to be screwing around on your phone while the movie's playing? I sure hope not. And I think if you do that, you've got terminal brain rot. But I think this of all movies will stop you from doing that. But either way, there's also what you cognitively have, what experiences you're bringing to the viewing experience. This sort of thing is referred to as hermeneutics. It's not just what you're reading, what you're seeing, what you're listening to. It's what you are filtering those things through on the basis of your pre-existing skill sets and knowledge. The great thing about a movie like this, and there's very few, it's almost more like a documentary, but it's not. It is a film. The great thing about it is it exposes our own incompetence in regards to what these people do. Even if you don't think about it consciously, on some precognitive level, when they're constantly on the radio talking what's for most of us gibberish, or doing other things that they do, that soldiers do, and you get a lot of that kind of jargon in the overhead, the aerial shots from the helicopter. Even if you don't consciously admit to yourself, well, they've got a lot of training, and I really couldn't do what they do without training. And some of us are too old to even try to learn how to handle weapons and do these maneuvers and all of this stuff. At least on a precognitive level, somewhere inside, you realize you got to appreciate the skills and the training. Of course, somebody who never wants to acknowledge such a thing about warfare and soldiering and regime change and all the rest of it will never even watch the film. So that's a non-starter with them. That's fine. Now, aside from the audio engineering and the jargon and these other comms-related things, I mean, a lot could be said about that relationship between the movie itself and the subject matter of the film. People who have studied history of warfare know that a lack of proper communications has led to countless deaths and tragedies. And nowadays, these guys, so many of them have these headsets on constantly, including the director of the film. That was his role, comms. Another thing about this film that is so special, and what makes it a film, not just merely an occurrence report or like a police report or it's not purely procedural. A lot of people who have reviewed this movie and love it, the fact that it's so much more like, it's procedural, it's kind of clinical, it's like, this is what has happened. You get the sense that very few minutes have been omitted from the incident in this movie. Unlike most movies where sometimes you're watching a film and you're like, how many days have gone by since the first scene, I wonder? That's not what's happening here. But it is still a film because it does still have elements that you wouldn't write into a report to your superiors. I used to be a security guard, and And earlier this week, I had to talk to somebody who I thought was going to write up a report, but they didn't feel like it. I'll tell that story in a video behind my paywall. Sometimes police, you got to cut them some slack. But anyways, this one moment, there's a couple like this, but right around the same part, things are kind of slow. They're waiting. They've gotten this Navy SEALs platoon has gotten into this house. There's a whole support unit around the sniper. It's not like in so many other films where there's a sniper and one other dude and they're in the middle of the jungle all by themselves. I don't know if that was ever done that way, but that's not how it was done in Iraq in 2006. So you got this whole support team, and you can kind of tell that it's like back when I was a security guard and I would just sit there on a winter night reading a book, Game of Thrones, because nothing was really happening. For a little bit, you get that, and you get these weird little moments like, he's running his finger through the dust on this little gate inside the house, and this guy's just this stuck out to me in the moment. I'm like, why is he? Yeah, oh man, I bet you it's humid, yeah? And what I couldn't help but think about, I made a video of myself back when I was a security guard. I probably shouldn't have done it, but whatever, nobody cares. 15 years ago, and there's this moment every time I see this in the video where I'm scratching the side of my head, I can still feel that. I can still feel the humidity. It's a memory that just weirdly, you have these weird little memories. Maybe scratching your head is something that frequently, strangely, we commit to memory. I don't know, but you can tell actually, as a matter of fact, the weather looks like it was very similar to what I was dealing with that morning in Toronto in the summer when there was a garbage strike on. Anyways, I digress. So you get these things also incorporated into the film, such that it isn't merely cold and clinical like you're watching body cam footage or something like that, or like you're reading a factual report. It's not just that, but it's much more like that than so many other war films. After watching this film last night, I couldn't get to sleep, so let me see if A24 has any other military-related, historically accurate, whatever, movies. I caught another one called The Kill Team, and I basically had to turn it off after 20 minutes. I was tempted to turn it off sooner, because Warfare kind of spoiled me. That lack of music, aside from the diegetic one at the start and at the very end, with that general lack of music and the lack of spoon-feeding things like symbolism. Warfare doesn't give you the symbolism and like the foreshadowing and the implications of tension between the characters, such to build drama. All that is fine. We're used to all of that in movies. We expect that in movies. But after watching this and then watching another war movie, it's like, no, it's so different. It's so unique. Students of film will probably be typing in the comments right now, James, haven't you ever heard of Cinema Verita? Haven't you ever heard of kitchen sink films? Yeah, okay, what is old is new again. Let's be honest, most people alive today watching films, especially those who suffer from second screen syndrome, they've never seen a black and white British kitchen sink film. So anyways. So I wonder if there's kind of a paradigm shift now. I wonder if there's going to be more films emulating what's happened in this movie, what's happened in terms of creative choices. It's also nice to finally see a war movie where there isn't shaky cam. Because in a weird way, that sort of thing, like in Saving Private Ryan, introduced a lot of realism and that viscerality and that immediacy and all of that stuff I was saying. But I think collectively as an audience, now it kind of takes us out of it in a way, or it doesn't get us as close as just locking the camera down, framing the shot, and just letting us be there in the moment. Because when you've got the shaky cam, you're thinking about the camera operator, or maybe even precognitively, the person holding the camera and filming it is now a character. That's just another step. That's another middleman. Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza have removed that here. I could rant on and on and on, and I probably have. I'm trying to do this in such a way that I don't have to do much editing, because I'm getting fed up of editing. Well, that's kind of fitting, right? A little bit less of that, where the camera's zooming in and out. A lot of YouTubers are doing that now, where like the camera angle keeps changing, and it's like shaky cam in war films. It's like, I think that's a lot of YouTubers are going to stop doing that, or it's going to become a bit passé, I hope. I don't have the energy for that. I spend my energy on thinking about things and gathering some visuals, and I don't want to. And audio engineering and sound design is one of those things. If it's done well, you don't even realize that it's a thing. It's like with guys in IT. They never get any credit for doing a good job, but as soon as something gets screwed up, then where's the IT guys? Where are they? Otherwise, they don't exist. If you're doing it right, people won't even notice you're doing anything at all. That is definitely something happening in this film, in Warfare. The creative choices by Alex Garland and the way that Ray Mendoza, and they were sure to tell us this at the start, has based everything in here off of memories. The way somebody might have to if they're writing up an incident report or a use of force report. You got to use your memory. Memory is fallible, but sometimes that's all you have to go on. And that's why some of these moments, it's clearly weird things that stuck out in the guy's memories. And that gives it even more realism. And that's a creative choice that maybe you don't stop and think about in the moment, which just goes to show Alex Garland has become a very competent film director. Maybe I should check out Civil War. Did anybody watch that? It seemed like the politics and everything was all screwed up and skewed and confused. It's set in the near future. I don't know. I highly recommend Warfare, and I highly recommend you watch it and listen to it on the best audio source possible. Something better than this. Anyways, folks, I hope you have a nice week, and let me know what you thought below. Consider becoming a member. If you want to see videos where I just take the gloves off a little bit more in terms of geopolitics and whatnot, because God knows I could have started on a rant about Israel and whatnot in this video, speaking of Warfare, but I'm going to keep that stuff behind the $1.99 a month paywall, okay? And more personal stuff out of it. All right, folks, have yourself a great weekend. Let me know what you thought below. Like, share, subscribe. Cheers. Bye.